Shalom, everyone. I am the Chief Magician of Mystery Babylon. Welcome to my holy channel. Um, Today, I'm going to do a video not like many of my other videos in that I have one of my chief disciples with me right now. His name is Yaqob, and he is one of my more very advanced, highly initiated of chief disciples. Um, and we always talk every now and then about various holy mysteries. And very recently, he asked me a very profound, deep question, which was, what he's like, Robbie, what universe do we inhabit within the universe of Asiya? Now we know that there's an infinite number of universes upon infinite number of universes. Even in the universe of Asiya, there's an infinite number upon infinite number of universes. And to truly understand the magnitude of the number of universes, you have to get very high up in occult mathematics to truly understand these very lofty high magnitudes that we are dealing with. So it's a really good question, and I've pondered this question myself. I told them in the past, but I don't know. I don't really know of any other method. So Yaqob, he's a hardcore, holy initiate and adept, and recently he's been plunging very deep into certain sections of Eitz Chaim of Chaim Vital's section Eitz Chaim, who's the chiefest of Arizona. He's been studying some very esoteric sections in the Lurianic Qabbalah, and he's put together a very nice presentation so that he can reveal some of his insights into this matter. And so, Shalom, Yaqob, welcome. It's a great honor and pleasure to have you with me now, and I very much look forward to what you have to present. So, why don't we start with you, and you can begin, the disquisition at hand.
Okay, well, Shalom, Chief. It's an honor to be here with you to present my insight that I have just received recently after reading Sefer Eitzheim. I was actually having an insight about because I was reading some section in Eitzheim about the separation of the divine feminine and divine masculine, which is actually a very common theme in Qabbalah, and not just in Qabbalah, also a very common theme, a very common motive in all the mythologies throughout, all over the world. So I was thinking that this motive, they have they carry a certain allusion as to how does the how does our universe operate, and how does the universe is actually, well, I mean, it's a very complicated matter that I myself is having trouble in actually compiling this presentation today, because it's a very complicated matter, and I'm trying my best to present this in a very simplified and understandable way, and I personally don't think it's good enough,
Sure, it's no worries. It's no worries, Yaqob. It's no worries. Do the best that you can. I know we're dealing with very lofty, sublime, holy matters here, so we can only do our best. So, it is what it is. But just go with it, and let's.
Sure. I'm gonna begin my presentation now.
Sure.
I didn't actually expect to actually give a presentation today, to be quite honest. But I managed to actually put down my insight on a Microsoft Word here. So I'll just share my screen right now with you, so everyone can see.
Sure.
So let me begin with the opening. I'm gonna cite a verse in Tehillim 14:1. the fool has said in his heart, there is no God. So we have a problem in the modern world is that people always say, especially with the current trend in recent times, is that people are becoming more and more atheistic. You know, they the more they learn science, the more they simply just dismiss the idea of God, because they simply just, there's no way you can actually prove God by science. Well, I can see that. I used to be, an atheistic person back then, like for quite a number of years back then. I can see, I can understand this perspective, and I still do understand this perspective, that like, I'm no longer an atheist, but I can still understand this perspective. So this is just an illusion. This is just a introduction to the topic at hand. Well, I want to discuss about the findings that I managed to found in separate time, is that there are essentially, if you know Lurianic Qabbalah, if you're already initiated into Lurianic Qabbalah, you know that there are various stages in which the Nukba or Malchut is being separated from Zeir Anpin. There are many stages. It's not just like one stage of separation. There are many stages to it throughout the times. So in here we have the first stage, or the first phase, I guess. This is the beginning of the conception of Nukba. The Nukba in here is just a point made by 10 below the Yesod of Zeir Anpin, right here in Malchut of Zeir Anpin. So this is Nukba right here. She's a 10 underneath the Yesod of Zeir Anpin. So she's basically just one point made by 10. This is the first phase. Now the second phase is Nukba is a complete positive 10 Sphirot with the heights of in the breast downward of Zeir Anpin. So this is Nukba right here. So her height is only this height, this tall. It goes from the Malchut to the Tiferet of Zeir Anpin. And she's in the back of Zeir Anpin.
Sure.
But the lights of the superior 5 does not shine into the Da'at and Tiferet of Zeir Anpin yet. So it means that there is no light here in this area, in this first 5 Sephirot of Zeir Anpin. And this is the second stage.
Sure.
Now, the third stage is that Nukba receives light from the first 5 of Zeir Anpin and grows into becoming like him. Now, the Keter is not fulfilled in these qualities, in this quality rather, because they're still back to back. So I'm guessing, and I don't know if I got the interpretation correct, but I'm guessing is that it means that they're still sharing the same Keter or something like that.
That is.
I'm not really sure. That is true.
In a way, it is. It's very advanced, but they do share part of Kether's light. Nukba takes half, and Kether. You know what? Actually, I can't remember this. I'm gonna have to get back to you on this. This is a very complicated matter. I have to reference some Lurianic material, so I'm gonna have to pass on this for now. But you have to understand, fellow listeners, that we are talking about super advanced, very esoteric sections of the Lurianic Qabbalah here. So I would have to brush up myself a bit on this. So we'll just have to skip that part for now, because I'm not entirely sure. See, the issue is that in the Lurianic Qabbalah, they'll get deep into the mystery of what is stated in the Talmudim, that there can only be one Kether, meaning there can only be one crown, right? And this goes all the way back to the issue at the beginning, where, Nukba and Zeir Anpin could not share the same crown, and it was a point of contention. So this thing you just brought up goes very deep into this matter, and unfortunately, I cannot fully remember this matter from the Lurianic Qabbalah. You have to understand, the Lurianic Qabbalah is ridiculously extensive and comprehensive in nature. So I unfortunately can't remember everything. So we'll just have to skip this for now.
Yeah, sure. I myself don't understand what's the signification of this. But moving along, so there are actually like three phases to the relationship between Nukba and Zeranpin in the qualities of back-to-back. Now we have the qualities of face-to-face, which means they're facing face-to-face instead of back-to-back. So now this is the four qualities, but also the first qualities to the qualities of face-to-face is that she is a complete person, breast downward face-to-face. First wife does not shine. So this is similar to the second one earlier right here, except this one is face-to-face this time. So this is the fourth phase, I guess. Now the next one is that breast downward, just like the previous one. The first wife now shines. So now we have the lights coming from the first wife of Zeranpin. Now Zeranpin descends into her netzach, but Nukba ascends into his spot in the quality of the name Boko. Now I'm not really sure what it means, but what it means is that because since they are face to face, the left of one is the right of the other, so it means that the netzach of Nukba is the heart of Zeranpin. So that's where they are uniting in this space. In this space, they are uniting in that that area, that section right there. Now, moving on to the sixth one, the sixth phase. So now Nukba is almost at the same measure with Zeranpin. His Keter will grow from her Keter because he is still bigger and above her Keter. Now, again, another statement regarding Keter that I do not understand. Like, what does it mean that his Keter will grow from her Keter because he is still bigger? So, yeah, I don't understand that either. Do you care to enlighten me here, G? Or
well, regarding that, his Keter will grow from her Keter. Yeah, I'm afraid I don't. I cannot recall. You know, I can't recall my understanding on this at this point. You know, so I'm gonna have to pass. Fellows, you have to understand that we're hosting. I just woke up a little while ago to do this meeting because Yaqob, lives on the other side of the world. So we had to do this when I woke up. So I'm not at my sharpest right now. I'd have to, and I didn't fully prepare as I just woke up. I don't have all these texts, in front of me. So I unfortunately cannot recall, and my understanding on the statement of his Kether will grow from her Kether because he is still bigger and above her Kether. I have to go and do a little, referencing and studying to get back to you. So we'll just have to skip this statement for now.
Sure. Moving on. In this state, they're basically about the same height. Well, not exactly about the same height. Slightly. There's a slight difference there. So the Keter of Zeranpin is still actually higher than the Keter of Malkuth. And because of this, the Malkuth of Nukba has no companion because she's below Zeranpin's Yesod, so it's a sense of being included in her Yesod. So this is the depiction right here. It's actually like the heights, more or less. This is the heights. So the Malkuth of Nukba is actually, she has to ascend to the level of Yesod in order to actually match the level of Zeranpin. So that's more or less my understanding to it. Now, moving on, the seventh stage, the final stage, complete equality. This is the goal. This is the goal to the growth of Nukba. This is the state that will be in the world to come. A complete equality between the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And now there are actually 7 stages, but in reality there are actually 8 stages. Now the last stage is actually the current stage that we are in now. So this is after the destruction of the second temple. So her ninth spirit descended into the realm of Qliphoth, and she leaned upon the Netzach called Yesod of Zeranpin. This is also the state after the sin of the first man, up until the first Sabbath. Now, so we have the 8 stages right here being discussed in Sefer Ishai. So let me just moving on. So throughout the times, actually, they're undergoing different stages throughout the times in history. In the beginning of Nukhwa's conception, we have the state 1. Going back to the top, this is the stage 1, the stage of Nukhwa being made by the 10 point below the Yes of Zero Anpi. That's the stage 1 right there. So that's this stage of the conception. Now, on the 4th day of the creation, Nukhwa starts to grow, becoming state 2, and then 3, and then Moon spoke badly, and this is of course reference to the story of when the moons spoke badly regarding how they have to share the crown, regarding how the moon has to share the crown with divine masculine. Sure. So the divine masculine told her to lessen herself, and so the first lessening occurs. So Nukhwa, when she was already growing, becoming stage 3, which is basically the stage 3 was that she was already at the same height, but without the Keter. This is the stage 3. She was already in this stage, and then now she had to shrink again, back into state 1. Now back in the 6th. Now moving on to the 6th day of creation, Nukhwa grows again into this stage 3 again, just like on the 4th day. But then the first man sinned, Nukhwa becomes state 8, and we know state 8 is this one, the one which she descends from Qliphoth. Now that goes on until the first day of Sabbath. Now during the period between the creation and the first temple, well, there are actually many stages. There are actually I think the separate Ishai talk about different phases that she went through during the time of the patriarch, during the time of the exile, sure, and so on and so forth.
Sure. So I just want to make a few points. So you're doing very well here. So what you have shown here is a summary of various stages, but there are even more stages. So there are lots of intermediate stages between the stages that you have shown. So for example, you show up there. If you go up, you have stage 1. If you go up, you show stage 1.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, this is stage 1.
Point. Then you go to stage 2, where Nukhwa is 10 parts routine. But actually, there are many stages between what you have there for stage 1 and stage 2. Likewise for the other stages. There's tons of stages here that you have missed. But of course, you're just focusing on the particular section you were reading in the time. But there are even many other stages that are very comprehensive and long in detail. So this is the whole essence of the Lurianic Qabbalah, right? It's teaching the very beginning of the Sfarol, how they came into existence, and even now what their states are with respect to our construct, and what they will be, at the end. When we say beginning and end here, we're using these words with license of language because they have higher meaning in the higher universes and constructs. But the point is that there are many other stages besides these 8 stages. What Yaqob has presented here is a very nice summary of some of the entire process, more or less. It is a very, very nice, beautiful summary. But the Lurianic Qabbalah has hundreds upon hundreds of pages detailing tons of stages, So I just want to mention that. So, but you can continue, Yaqob.
Sure, I'm quite aware there are actually many different varieties of stages. Like I said, this is actually, I could say that this is an oversimplification of things, because in between the times of creation and up to the first temple period, we basically have the summary. The oversimplification is that basically during the Sabbath, they go into stage 6, but during the workday they go into stage 2. Now stage 6 is this stage right here, in which they are almost at the same height. Stage 2 is this stage right here, in which Nukwa is only pressed downward without the lights of the upper Zeron pin. So basically, that's how it goes during that period. But in the first temple period, when the first temple was made, we have the stage 6 all days throughout throughout the month, throughout the week. It's always on the stage 6 throughout the first temple period. Now, after the destruction of the first temple, there's a lessening again. So she's back to state 1, and then immediately rectified again to the period of this pattern right here. Sabbath goes to state 6, and on the workday she goes to state 2. So after the destruction of the first temple, it's back to that pattern again. Now we have the second temple period. This is a bit different from the first temple period. The state in the second temple period is that it goes to state 6 in Sabbath, and it goes to state 5 in workdays. State 5 is, of course, this one right here. The press downward, the Nukwa is pressed downward, but the lights of the upper Zeron pin is revealed. Now, the Sefer Islam said that it's due to because there are many things that are in the second temple that's not. No, I mean, sorry. There are actually many things in the first temple that's not the second temple. Like, for example, the Urim and the Tumim, which is basically the garments of the priest or something like that. I'm not really sure what those are.
Very, very powerful secret magical devices that are used by the Kohanim, but yes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So after the destruction of the second temple, we go to stage 8, which is the worst state of all, which is that she goes down to the realm of Qlipot, and this is the stage that we are in now, ever since the destruction of the second temple. So that's basically how the book is explained.
Sure.
Now, moving on. So I want to discuss about.
By the way, before you move on, Yaqob, I just want to say that I'm super impressed because what you just presented is very, very advanced, very, very esoteric Lurianic Qabbalah. Very, very few people can even begin to understand what you've just shared. I should have given a warning at the onset of the video, that warning, this video is very esoteric, very super advanced. I feel many listening are not going to fully understand what has been presented because this goes into the very heart and essence of the Qabbalah. So just a huge, massive testament to your high level of wisdom, knowledge, and initiation, Yaqob.
Sure.
Very well
thank
done.
you.
Very well done.
Yeah.
So go ahead and continue.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's time for me to get to the essence of the matter, which is now I want to discuss about the common motives in religions and mythologies all over the world. So we have the common motive, which is that of the separation of heaven and earth. Now, this is present in almost all mythologies that I have read about. It's in the Greek mythology, it's in the Egyptian mythology, it's in the Germanic mythology. It's in the Asian mythology all over the all over the world really. It's probably it's probably in all myths. I don't know if there's I don't know.
No, you're right, Yaqob. You're right, Yaqob. It's in all the myths. So you're right.
Exactly. So I'm trying to say it's all over the place. It's a very common motive. And there's also the motive of the global flood. And we know the global flood is, of course, the flood of Noah. It's also in the Sumerian mythologies, it's in the Hindu mythology, etc. And we have the descending qualities throughout the epochs of humanity, basically the ages of humanity. the 5 ages, the 4 ages, Hindu Yuga, basically we had the golden ages back then, and then we descended into
these are the AMs, exactly.
yeah, the AMs. This is also a common motive. Now we have the dying and rising deity, which is of course Jesus is one of them. We have Osiris and also Ra in Egyptian mythology. We have Dionysus in Greek mythology, and we have Ishtar and Persephone. Well, there's a lot. Again, a very common motive throughout the mythologies all over the world. There's also one in Japanese. I can't remember the name of the deity, but the Japanese mythology also had one of these things.
Sure.
This is the motive, or rather, the history of the world being understood by the mythologies of the world. Now, but then we also have the history, the understanding of history from the modern secular perspective, which is of course much more different than what we are being presented here, in the mythologies. So, history of man, according to secular historians and archaeologists, is that basically humanity evolved from the lineage of ape species around 4.6 to 6.2 million years ago, up until becoming an anatomically modern human about 300,000 years ago. And then earliest forming civilization was about 10,000, before Christ era. And there was never a global flood, at least not in the sense like, as in like, the entire world is being drowned by flood. There's no such thing as that according to secular historians. Now, there's also no archaeological evidence whatsoever of the existence of the patriarchs of the patriarch, and people of Israel was known as actually identified as an ethnic group emerged from Canaan, which eventually formed their own kingdom. Now, the archaeological evidence of the Davidic kings, such as David and Shlomo, are very sparse. Firstly of their existence.
I'm sorry, Yaqob, but this has really triggered me. What I'm reading is really triggering me right now, and I'm just like so effing pissed off. What's the point of discussing these retarded people? Like, what's the point?
Well, well, I mean, like, I'm getting to that at the end of the discussion.
I don't know if I can handle you reading any more of this.
Well, I mean, okay, well, like, again, you have to keep a very open mind here, because I'm actually trying to discuss this this historicity, like these different versions of historicities. I'm trying to, in this discussion, basically, I'm trying to reconcile them Kabbalistically. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay. So bear with me here. Like,
I'm sorry, Yaqob.
Sure. So just bear with me, because like I said, this is a very complicated matter. So I'm trying my best to actually present this in a very simplified matters. And again, I don't claim to know that I'm right, which I don't know if I'm right, because I don't know the dynamics of all this. Like, this is just basically an insight from my short readings of each kind. So yeah, all these are still basically theories and speculation. But yeah, okay. Well, moving on. So the last one, there are no physical archaeological evidence of Jesus, and all sources are only in the form of documentaries. Now, if you ever heard of the Christ myth theory, the theory that states that the story of Jesus is basically a myth, that he never existed as a historical person, or if he did, he had virtually nothing to do with founding Christianity and the accounts of the gospel, which is a theory that's actually getting more and more popular in recent times, I heard. So that's basically it. Okay. Now, what does this have anything to do with the relationship between Zera Anpin and Nukva? Okay, well, let me explain. The state of Zera Anpin and Nukva relationship as different planes of world existence slash timelines. Now, the heavens are represented by Zer Anpin, also known as midot of qualities. The word qualities imply variety of states of being or existence, different planes in the multiverses, various positions of Nuba, which is an allusion to the Earth in relation to Zer Anpin throughout history, meaning that throughout the history, the Earth has shifted through many different planes of existence. Nuba is also an allusion to the people of Israel, or the congregation of Israel. The souls of Israel are going through many Gilgulim throughout the times. The cycle may have gone through different planes along with shifting. Now, are you starting to understand what am I getting at here? Do you understand what am I getting at here?
I do. So I was going to stop you because what you're revealing now, you know, is one of the greatest and highest of arcana. You know, it's really the quintessence of the Qabbalah, which is explaining the nature of our construct as a function of the Elohim, really as a function of the Sphirot, really as a function of the different states of the Sphirot. This is very, very deep. This is very, very esoteric. And this is why I said that, you know, Yaqob, you know, is an extremely highly initiated Mechabel, to say the least, because he understands a lot of these very, very deep arcana. So very, very, very impressive. You revealed, you're giving a very esoteric Kabbalistic disquisition here on some very, very profound, deep stuff, to say the least.
Sure. Shall we move on?
Sure.
Anyway, the parallel universe. So I have a chart right here that I want to show you that will actually explain my theory right here. So this is the chart of the process of the things that we have, you know, that we have discussed in regards to the state of the relationship between Zer Anpin and Nupa. So this chart right here, it depicts the parallel universes that we have. Well, of course, we know that there are infinite number of parallel universes, but right here is the ones that are basically like an oversimplification of things. I'm showing here the state 1, state 2, state 5, state 6, which are basically the states that are included during the timeline between the first temple and its destruction, and it goes to the second temple and its destruction, and into the modern times that we are in now. So you can see right here that the blue arrow right here, the blue arrow is the mankind. In a sense, mankind, you know, the sons of Adam, the souls of Israeli. The red ones are the mankind as in the biological species, you know. So we have us as an Israeli, we go through this, you know, this universe right here, and then due to some major occurrences, which is the destruction of the second temple, we shift the universe down to this universe right here, and then Nupa is being rectified. So we shift again and again after the second temple period. So now in the second temple period, we are in this universe. And also in this universe during this, you know, during the certain time of the week, like that is Shabbat. Shabbat is actually, you know, the higher universe. The work days is the lower universe, which is the state 5 right here. And then we have destruction again. Now due to destruction, we are shifting down to the lowest universe. Now this is the universe of state 8, aka the timeline progression as was discovered and understood by the secular historian.
I want to stop here because it looks like you're talking about something very, very super esoteric that I feel isn't really known by hardly anyone, by only very few grandmasters and Michael Boline, which is that, you know, we understand that there's an infinite number of parallel universes, but most people understand it as that each parallel universe is separate. and that the laws of the universes dictates that somebody in one parallel universe could never travel to another parallel universe. That's impossible. You can't do that. But what you're saying is that actually we're constantly moving through parallel universes without anybody even knowing or realizing.
Yes, that's basically what I'm saying.
It's very, very deep. It's actually very much correct, but it's such an esoteric topic that is not really fully understood, I think, by really anyone. Really, this is just so super deep and esoteric that, I mean, it's pretty mind-blowing to say the least.
Exactly. That's why I said that, the revelation that I got from reading Simple at Time after the first 2 chapters was like really, really super powerful. And I wanted to share it.
Yeah, it's very, very much powerful. Because most people don't have a high IQ and high SQ enough to realize that if we talk about a previous eon, that in actuality, that previous eon is actually a parallel universe. Because we're really talking about the space-time continuum here. I mean, this is, I think people are beginning to understand this last generation that quantum mechanics, these higher occult subjects of quantum physics and mechanics, that they link into the Qabbalah and into the esoteric spiritual science and wisdom of our ancient ancestors and sages and grandmasters. This is really, really super powerful, deep esoteric stuff. It's very mind-blowing, to say the least. So, again, another testament, Yaqob, of what an exalted nefesh you are.
Yeah, I'm not, let me just continue. Well, I mean, it's the chart is an oversimplification, of course, of the shifting that have occurred throughout the times. There are probably, like you said, there are probably like different stages that is not being explained in that section that I read. There's probably like other stages that are not explained in any of the Lurianic Qabbalah. There are probably many shiftings that have occurred throughout the times that's not being depicted in this graph right here. Like, for example, we might actually have shifting going through this period that's not being shown. Might actually have shifting here that's not being shown. I should probably, like, when there's like a major occurrence, like the coming of the Messiah, like Shabtai Sophie and Yaqob Frank. There's probably shifting happening during that time too. There are probably many sub-states to each of the state, meaning that there are actually many, like, another layer here, in the midst of this line right here. There are probably many minor shiftings occurring every year, every month, every week, minute, second, because there are many massive amounts of possibilities and choices of action that can be made by mankind. Infinite number of multiverses and states, but we do not know the exact dynamics. I do not know the exact dynamics. That's why I said this is an oversimplification, and I still have a lot more to learn. And yeah, this is a very, very complicated stuff, and I'm trying my best to simplify this. So each timeline exists as an independent universe. The divine presence and Israeli souls are shifting from one to the other throughout the epochs, represented in the graph as the blue line. The biological species of human exists in each timeline, serves as the vessel or clay for the Israeli souls in exhaust. So if you actually look at the chart right here, I made a distinction between the mankind in the sense of Israeli souls, the souls of Israeli, the descendants meaning descendants, like the souls derived from Adam, and also mankind as a humanity, as a biological species, which are the Goyim. These are the red lines right here. They exist in each of the universe. They don't go in between.
Sure.
So only the souls go in between. So that's the distinction right here that I made. the Hebrew word for ape is Kof. Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
So also the spelling of the letter of the same name, Kof, right here. So this implies Qlipot, and as the gematria of 100, same as the gematria of Kali or vessels. So you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm trying to say in here, right? Ape, as in the body of man.
Sure.
The body of man is the descendants of ape. So the parable of Noah's flood as an allusion to the Gilgal, transmigration of souls into another plane of existence. So the question of, are we improving or worsening off as we go through the ages, which is, of course, this question is addressing to the problem of the 4 ages, which basically saying that we are actually worsening off as we go through the ages from golden age to the iron age. So we are improving from the biological perspective because there are technologies now, and the health and the life expectancy.
Yeah, in fact, I have I think 1 or 2 videos that I did on the parable of Noah's flood being an allusion, to Gilgalim. So yeah, absolutely correct.
Exactly. So anyway, now the question regarding the Jesus and the patriarch, do they ever exist at all as a biological person in this timeline of state A that we are currently living? Now, I do not know about that. I do not know whether they exist or not. They do exist, but they most definitely exist in the previous timelines. But if they do not exist in these timelines, which I do not know if that's true or not, now we know why. Because they don't always, they basically what I'm trying to say is that they have a different manifestation. Now, there was an Abraham, as he was known in Torah, existed in different plane that the Israeli used to inhabit at the time. Now, there's also Abraham of this timeline, which, according to most archaeologists, is not actually a person, but a group of people splintered from the civilization of Ur of Chaldea that migrated to the land of Canaan. So this is the biological descendant of the biological people of Israel. So he's basically just, they are basically just, the descendant, the origin, the biological origin of the people of Israel. But the sole origin of Abraham, as we know, is the Abraham in the higher parallel universe. But then, if this is the case, and who was buried in the cave of Machpelah? Now, again, question that I do not know the answer to. The possibilities are endless, and we might never truly know the dynamics, or not at least in this lifetime. So I think that concludes my presentation. I think that's all.
So those last things you said are pretty deep. The implications and ramifications are just, I guess we could say are quite staggering, to say the least. So I think I know what you're trying to say, but it's pretty deep. So I'm just gonna let the listeners decide for themselves, as to how to interpret those last things you said.
Yeah, sure.
And I'll just refrain from, adding what I want to say. But question is, let's go back to the question you initially asked me, which is what universe do we inhabit within the universe of Asia? What is your answer?
Well, obviously, I don't know what's the answer, because when I asked that question, I actually want to know, because in relation, because in my presentation, I always made like a superimposition between the Sephiroth of Zer and the Sephiroth of Nupa. I just want to know, because okay, let me just reshare my screen here, because I just turned off this sharing. So right here, okay, well, so this is the current stage that we are in, and this is the stage of the first temple. So now, what I want to know is that which of the universe of Nupa that we are in, because we because we want to know like what does it mean that the Malkuth of Nufa is it here? What does it mean by that? You know, what does that imply? Because if the Nufa is in here, because if we live in here, what does it mean by that? If we live, for example, in the Yesod of Nufa, right here, now what does it mean by that? You know, like because in here the Yesod of Nufa right here is actually being paired as with the Malkuth of Zer Anpin. It's in the same level of with the Malkuth of Zer Anpin. So it means that they're receiving light. It means that the Yesod of Nufa is receiving light from the Malkuth of Zer Anpin. So what does it mean? You know, like that's why I want to know, because I want to know the you know the details of the dynamics to the shifting of the universe. But, you know, I just want to know like the dynamics of it.
Sure. So, you know, one thing that was interesting was that when we were talking about this, you said, you know, we have the understanding that that the universe is a hologram in the sense that there are 10 Sferoth to the universe of Asiya, every sphere has 10 Sferoth, and so on ad infinitum. So, you know, you asked me very wisely, you said, okay, with this basic understanding that there are 10 universes within Asiya for each of the 10 Sferoth, which of these 10 Sferoth or universes do we inhabit within Asiya? You know, and you said, are we within Malkuth of Asiya, or are we within Malkuth of Asiya?
Or are we in the Yesod of Malkuth of Asiya?
What level? Yeah, what level in this infinite structure do we inhabit?
Exactly. That's my question.
It's a good question. I don't know. What are your thoughts, if you have even any?
I might actually have to read more because I haven't finished.
So I don't know. I mean, some of these questions are so deep and just so infinite and profound in nature that I don't know if we'll ever know. But I mean, we will eventually know. But at least in the time being, you know, we probably won't know. But it's crazy. I mean, you know, when you begin to realize the infinite upon infinite nature of the entire holistic construct. I mean, you know, you get to thinking that what are we? What is our universe and what are we? We might just be nothing. We might just be considered like turds or crap in the higher universes. I'm seriously, like there are Kabbalistic texts that get into this. It's very scary stuff. That's why it's very dangerous. That's why I'm always saying that this esoteric wisdom is very, very dangerous. For example, if I were to tell you certain secrets that are taught in the highest levels of the Qabbalah, and the Luciferians were to get hold of it, and very evil people were to get hold of this knowledge and wisdom, they could use it to destroy philosophies and religions and ethics and a lot of other things. So that's why a lot of this stuff is very, very esoteric, because this knowledge and wisdom, of which is voracious, you know, in its entirety, is very, very, very dangerous for some people to get a hold of. You know, if people start saying that, you know, we're nothing but crap, you know, we're nothing but like crap and turds, you know, in the higher universes, you know, the world could go to hell in a handbasket, you know, quicker than you can say hell. So, very dangerous stuff, very, very dangerous esoteric knowledge. So, so I think we'll conclude the presentation here. Thank you, Yaqob, for sharing all of that. That was very powerful stuff that you shared, and very nice pictorials that you shared. Very, very esoteric Lurianic Qabbalah that you were touching upon. So very great, very powerful. Thank you very much, Yaqob, for sharing.
Yes, you're welcome. So it's an honor. It's a great honor to have the opportunity to share your channel with us.
Amen. Well, shalom and salah, everyone.